Good morning, everybody. Guess what? Let's begin this week with a lot of kids and a lot of stuff to talk about. And one of the things we're going to talk about with these kids is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, the good, we all know in Ellijay, is great music about the city of Ellijay, about Gilmer County, about the people that we know and love. And we have a large group of kids in here who are going to be with us, and we're going to talk to them a little bit. We're going to visit a little bit. And since you're in sight with me, let's tell folks a little bit about you before we go to the music.
Sure. I am 16 years old.
Drive?
Yeah,
yes.
Just started driving.
Good deal.
I go to Gilmer High School, as you can tell.
That purple gave it away.
Yeah.
That purple gave it away.
I'm a part of League Gilmer. It's a very fun club to be a part of, and very excited to be here.
Good. I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about some good stuff, some sad stuff, some fun stuff, but we are going to start with some fun music from Mr. Ellijay. We're starting with it because we want to set the tone. We want to talk about Gilmer County, so here we go.
How y'all doing out there? Welcome to Ellijay. That's with a J.
About 90 miles north of Atlanta, where the Coosawhatee lay. They come out of the hills to pay their telephone bills in a town called Ellijay. When the mayor drove a shiny 62 Corvette, Slim was in a cruiser with a Cobra jet. What you see is exactly what you get if you come to Ellijay. Hey, Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, 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 good enough for you and me. Yeah. Apple blossom, baby possum, muscadine wine. Leave all your troubles at the welcome sign. I'm so proud to call a piece of this mine a town called Ellijay.
How you like them apples?
Two rivers run right through the middle of town, and late in the evening when the sun goes down, you can drive through and hear the happy sounds of the folks in Ellijay. Now way back in the summer of '73, the Red Dot parking lot was the place to be. But you could get more than what you bargained for back in those days in Ellijay. Yeah, you could. Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, good enough for you and me. Yeah. 69 Road Runner, Charger RT, pistol grip 4-speed 383. Boys, that's the way it all used to be, right here in Ellijay. Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, don't you want to come and see? Yeah. Trout fishing, skinny dipping, party all night. Praise the Lord, honey, I saw the white picking on a Telecaster Saturday night on the streets of Ellijay. Ellijay, a mighty fine place
wow, here we go. Okay. During that song, I learned that this man happens to have the sweetest parents in the world. And if you know anything about tires, you know about this family because they've been in the tire business since the 50s. Did you realize that?
70th anniversary this year.
That's right. Isn't that crazy? I love it. I love that. So, Cash, tell everybody your name is Cash Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
My name's Alyssa Hunt, and I'm in 10th grade at Gilmer High School.
Okay, now.
I'm Lilly and Seay, but a lot of people call me Lilly, and I'm in 11th grade.
I have a mic. My name is Nilda Juarez, and I'm also in 10th grade at Gilmer High School.
Okay, all right. We're going to talk a little bit about what you look at as today's the good, the bad, and the ugly. What are the good things about the world you're growing up in today?
We're advanced. We're very modernized, and I love that about how our world is. With that, there comes new innovations, new technology, new things to prolong life as it is.
Absolutely.
And I love that.
I love that. And?
There's a lot more opportunities, especially reaching up to Ellijay. You can really get to know things that a lot of people don't do in Ellijay that you can do elsewhere and bring here.
Right.
I like to see that people here are now very open-minded and understanding of situations. I like to see that there's also new opportunities a lot here, and it's good. Yeah,
that's right. And what do you see good about the world today?
I see a lot of good people and good connections here in Ellijay. I haven't traveled far out of Ellijay, but I think it's very, very nice here.
Well, one of the things I want to talk about, the bad that's going on in the world today. I've lived through losing somebody to dementia, to cancer, and I honestly thought in my lifetime both of those would have been solved. Could any of y'all solve cancer? Could we solve dementia? Can we solve type 1 diabetes? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disorder that is mainly genetic, and it's uncured.
And who has that?
I have type 1 diabetes. I've had it for almost 2 years now, and it's a very changing disease.
Absolutely. And to me, it's bad that in this world of genius, we haven't solved cancer or dementia. And you know, do y'all know anybody who has dementia?
My grandma did, but she died. But it's my dream for probably since 7th or 8th grade to cure dementia and Alzheimer's and everything like that. I mean, it's my passion to fix memory issues and issues in the brain for the rest of my life.
Wow, that is so, there's hope because there is your generation coming on and there's somebody in your generation who's going to do this. Who's going to do this? Now, what do you see that's bad in the world today?
Well, I like to see that there's a lot of political views and things, but I like to see that in this community we have respect for each other, and it's not, thankfully, like a huge issue, but outside there's definitely other places where it's a big issue.
Well, the things that you see right here, I wanted to share this because I wanted to talk to you. Your life changes when your husband, your wife, your mom, your dad is diagnosed with cancer or dementia. Those are two things that you know have a path. Dementia usually ends in a death, but long before they leave us, they're gone. And the lady who made all these things for me is staying at home making money as she takes care of her husband who is disappearing into the world of dementia. They're young. They taught Sunday school all their lives. He doesn't even understand anything about going to church anymore. And she's had to sit there and watch that. And they were very outgoing and in the public and doing things for people. Now she has to stay at home and she makes amazing things. And I want to tell you, for Valentine's Day, this is what my kids are getting. We have matching shirts that Miss Bonnie made. Instead of getting sad and depressed because her husband was battling dementia, she just turned around and created a business. And I think that's so cool that instead of letting it get her down, it keeps her busy. And that's something we have to do. Now, being a type 1 diabetic, do you find yourself wanting to stay busy and get involved so you don't think about it?
Yes, I've been trying that ever since I've been diagnosed. I've went into sports, went into clubs. I never thought I'd get into that stuff. I had, got more into school when I didn't try at all throughout middle school. After I got diagnosed, I thought, and this is the end of the world. But as I've continued on, type 1 diabetes has allowed me to make new friends, have a new social life after I've been an introvert all my life.
That's awesome.
And it's amazing how something so bad has brought something so bright into my life. And I love that.
That's amazing. Now, I know your grandparents well enough to know that you're from a pretty good line of genetics. Pretty healthy, pretty smart. Do you worry about things like dementia or, have you had any tragedy in your life?
I know that my grandpa, I think both of them suffered from a heart attack but didn't die, thankfully. But I'm a little fearful in that. Like when I fill out a form on the doctor, I got to put that, and it's a little scary.
It is. Now, your parents are both active, busy, working, and what would they like to see you do? Do they want you to be the next generation in the tire business?
Well, my dad would love me to, but he wants me to go wherever I want to.
Yeah.
My mom, she's very, whatever I like, she wants me to do that. So they're very accepting and welcoming whatever I want to do.
Right. Are any of y'all musically involved? What do you do?
So I'm actually in the GHS marching band. I've been doing band since I was in the 6th grade. My first instrument was actually the piano. My dad taught me that.
Can you play this piano over here?
Well, yeah. Probably.
Maybe in a break we're going to let her play, and then we'll bring it back and have you playing a little bit. Would that be cool?
Yeah.
Can you do it without music?
Yeah. I actually, I'm self-taught, so
See,
I don't.
That's the kind of folks I like. Yeah. You don't have to have that music.
Yeah.
So, I love that.
Yeah, it's but you'd have to warm up and all that.
Yeah.
So, but I've been doing marching band for a while. I chose percussion. My freshman year, I got into snare, which is just one instrument where you hear a lot of drum rolls. This is my sophomore year now. I am center snare, so yeah, and I'm hoping that,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
It is. It really is. Rolling off and things like before parades, and it's great. Yeah.
My granddaughter was drum major, and she loved that. That was and she's gone on to do television. And this week, I got to brag just a little bit. She's producing 3 commercials for the Super Bowl, and she is a go-getter kind of girl. She kind of gets that. We like to get out and do things, try things. And she called and she said, "Nanny, don't tell my dad I've been working till 10 o'clock at night to meet this deadline." And I said, "Your daddy knows you well enough to know, of course you would work till 10 at night to meet the deadline." What kind of goals do y'all have for your future?
For my future, I want to become an MRI technologist. I want to be the eyes for the doctors, to, get a good image for them to solve people's health, to make them healthier. That's what I want to be when I grow up.
And?
I want to get a PhD in neuroscience and hopefully work and do research in a lab and maybe even have a cure for, Alzheimer's, dementia, stuff like that, or just further what we know in memory and behavioral neuroscience because we know so little. And I mean, it's my dream to have a Nobel Prize, but I don't know.
That would be nice. That would be nice. That would be better than an Emmy. Let me ask you something. Do you believe that our food chain has something to do with our memory loss?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't think it's the whole thing, but it definitely, the chemicals that are in all of our foods today are definitely deepening the problems that have occurred.
Yeah. And what do you want to do?
So
what do you want to do when you grow up?
So I've always been interested in a lot of fields. So far I'm leaning more towards either medical or business. I'm not too sure, but probably in those fields.
Yeah,
so.
Medical would be great. We need some great doctors. We need great nurses. And I don't know how y'all feel about going to the doctor, but I try not to go to the doctor until I have to. But then it's so important for early detection. Early detection, early detection, because how did you know that you were type 1 diabetic?
I sadly had never known in my family that diabetes had ran, and I went into DKA, which is diabetic ketoacidosis.
Yeah. Right.
And my blood sugar was really high, and I almost went into a coma. It had gotten to the point where they said if I had came in a day later, I would have been dead.
Right.
And it was a horrible, horrible thing to find out. But I'm glad I know now that I'm a type 1 diabetic.
Who was a family member who had it?
Everyone on my grandfather's side was a type 2 diabetic, and they had all these problems and have died from it. So
Wow.
it was
Wow.
a very serious thing that I sadly, unfortunately, didn't know of.
Yeah. Okay, the good, the bad, the ugly. What's ugly about America today?
Well, there's a lot of wars going around us, and we don't know if we should join in them and help out because of NATO and everything.
Right.
And I think that's a really ugly part. You just don't know what's going to go on.
Okay, start with you. What's ugly about us?
So actually, I don't really think there's a lot, but I do see a lot of, there's some, not necessarily disrespect, but a lack of knowledge towards like other cultures or things like that. So we see different cultures around us that maybe we're not fully knowledgeable of, and I'd like to see, you know, maybe more open-mindedness to those. So yeah.
Okay.
I think that the poverty levels and just the economic state of the whole world is very ugly and causes a lot of people to have so many problems and just bad lives. So I think that's ugly.
Yeah, it is.
I feel as though there's a lot of negativity and hate that is promoted throughout America and other countries. And it causes a lot of closed-mindedness, and it causes a lot of, let's say, people to follow after each other, conformatory there. And it's definitely becoming a trend to bully, to harass, and, you know, to bring people down for you to get up above them. And I feel as though that's a big problem in America today, that people are doing that to each other.
You know, one of the only thing I really see that really gets to me in America that's so ugly, I worked on a coat drive last year for homeless veterans in Georgia. Now, I'm sorry, is there anybody in the audience who's going to join the military? Anybody here who's thinking military career? Okay. This country is built on the backs of our military. And the idea that in America today, we have homeless veterans freezing to death on the street. We have homeless veterans coming home who went away, and when you see a picture of them when they went to war, they were whole, intact, they were smart, they had everything going. They gave their limbs, their hearts, their eyesight. So many of them gave everything, but they came home. We're not taking care of our veterans, and to me, I think that is the ugliest thing in America today. And I think that somebody needs to stand up and say, whoa, just stop the crap and stop giving America away and take care of America first. And I think that America deserves to support the military. What branch would you join?
Well, I don't know yet, but I'm thinking of going to ROTC at UNG. They have Army ROTC.
Right.
But I could transfer out to the Air Force, which is what I'm thinking.
Right. Lackland Air Force Base in Texas is a beautiful place.
Love Texas.
Great way to make a career too. Yeah, and you can be a pilot and you can retire at 40, and then you can go to work for Delta and have another career and get 2 pensions. I'm planning your future. I'm planning your future. Well, we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to see if we can swap out some kids if somebody else wants to come on and be with us. So we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time. And delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Elmer loves to giggle. Elmer's mommy taught him that laughing can help when you have a big feeling, like when you feel happy. Make sure to celebrate when you're happy and laugh it out.
Y'all come by and see us anytime you can.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
We're back. Now, we're going to learn a little bit personal about these youngsters. Okay, start.
So, my parents are from Mexico, an area called Oaxaca. Everything's very cultural. It's great. Very foodies. A love for food, and it's great. They grew up there. That's where, well, there's like, Oaxaca would be like considered like a city here. So, you know, there's like little towns in there. And, you know, that's where they met, my dad and my mom. So, it was, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Both my parents moved around a lot. My mom definitely a lot more than my dad. She's lived everywhere in the country. But her family kind of stayed in Florida. And then my dad, they kind of stayed mostly in Alabama, like lower Alabama, Abbeville. That's where he stayed for most of his life.
I have a neighbor who's moving to Abbeville in 2 months. It's so beautiful.
It is.
It is so beautiful, yeah. Yeah.
And so my mom and dad both were athletes. My dad was a pitcher at Sanford, and my mom was on the dance team there. And so that's kind of where they met. Just being in that area.
Yeah.
And then they kept moving around after they were married, and they had my 2 brothers, and then like 10 years later they had me.
Surprise!
And I was born in Tallahassee, Florida, and I lived there for a while, and then I moved to Pell City, Alabama, and then here.
Yeah.
About 5 years ago.
There you go. There you go.
My parents moved around a lot throughout Georgia. I was born in Cartersville, and then I grew up in Yorkville, which is right outside Rockmart in Paulding County. And then I finally moved up here about a year ago now. And it's been amazing. I love it up here.
Yeah.
Let's see. I moved up here with my grandpa and my mom. My family's big. We come from a big line of family. I had 12 grandfathers and grandmothers on my grandmother's side, and then I have 8 brothers, 1 sister, and it's amazing. I love all of them so much.
That's awesome. And we know about your family, but go ahead and tell us a little bit more.
Well, we've been in Ellijay for 10 generations, and started the tire shop about 3 generations ago, and it's just been going on ever since. My mother, her family, I think her mom was born in Michigan, and then her father has just been around here, and they moved down here together, and I think my papa was in the military for a while and then came back, and it was big long line of family.
Yeah, there you go. And again, if you're looking for tires, not that we would do a tire commercial, but tell folks where your tire business is.
Ellijay Tire, Maddox Drive.
That's right, that's right. Just down the hill from McDonald's, you can smell the fries, right? Okay, we're going to take a music break, and I don't know if we're going to go to Brett Cantrell, who's also a local boy, and many of you will know him. He is now he's doing a little something with the Mardi Gras, trying to raise some money and raise awareness and help our community. And I think that's one thing that we should all take away from what we can do in life. There's something we can all do to give back, and I love that Brett's doing that. So let's feature a little bit of Brett Cantrell's music.
This old highway's getting longer. It seems there ain't no end in sight. To sleep would be best, but I just can't afford the rest. I got around Denver all night. I call the house but no one answers. 2 weeks, no one's been home. I guess it's through with me. To tell the truth, I just can't see what's kept a woman holding on this long. And the white line's getting longer, and the saddle's getting cold, and I'm much too young to feel this damn old. All the cards are on the table, no place left in the hole, and I'm much too young to feel this down. Competition's getting younger, tougher bronze, you know I can't recall. Wore down tape to Chris Ledoux, lonely women and bad booze seem to be the only friends I've left at all. And the white line's getting longer, and the saddle's getting cold, and I'm much too young to feel this damn old. All the cards are on the table, and no haste left in the hole, and I'm much too young to feel this damn old. Lord, I'm much too young to feel this damn old. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate that. Bet you never heard old Marshall Dillon say, Miss Kitty, have you ever thought of running away?
Come get, hey, we're back. See what I told you about live TV? You fly by the seat of your pants. I have a new guest, and we have another new guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
My name's Kelsey. I go to Gilmer High School, and I am in 10th grade.
And Good, Bad, and the Ugly. You want to start there?
I would say the good is how like supportive our county is, and how everybody looks out for each other.
Neighbors serving neighbors.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
I would say the bad is there's a lot of like politic problems, and then just like wars and everything like that.
Right. Yep. And the really ugly?
I don't know, that one's a tough one.
Yeah, and there are some things that we can change in our life. We can change the homelessness of veterans. We can do that. We can all work toward that. Okay, introduce yourself.
My name's Emma, and I am in 10th grade at Gilmer High School.
And Good, Bad, and Ugly.
I think something good is that people, even like young like us, they want to start figuring out ways to help out in their community. And then I feel like something ugly though is like just people being hateful. I mean, you kind of just have to trust your judgment on people.
You do, yeah.
And then for the bad, I mean, I don't really know. Kind of just piggybacks on the ugly.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, I want to, Josh, will you ask one of the guys to get the camera? I want to show this. We want to talk a little bit about this because you have a choice in your life. You can take what you're dealt and you can handle it well, like you're doing, or you can get bitter and get angry, and then that eats you up from inside. Or you can say, I can make a difference. And a couple of weeks ago, I had some Pickens County students on, and one of them just went to a state championship, and he's doing very, very well. And he's progressing and going to another championship. And his thing was working with the homeless in Pickens County. Now, did we think that we would have homeless? We want to go to this. Okay. Yeah, and this, like these things here, this is a positive thing in the world, because this young lady chose, when her husband was diagnosed with dementia, to just get in there and do something. We have a choice. We can get in there and make a difference. We can, we can create a group among ourselves that says we're going to help patients with dementia. And one of the things, when your grandmother had dementia, did your family have to deal with 24-hour care with her?
Yes, we did.
That is very hard. That is the hardest thing ever. Because I don't know if your grandmother's personality did this, but we dealt with somebody who had never cussed in her life, would cuss you up a blue streak. Somebody who had never been violent would tear things up. I mean, it changes your loved one. And I think that's why I respect the lady who makes this stuff so much. Her husband's personality flipped so badly, but she's dealing with it every single day. And we can make a difference. We could volunteer to go sit at her house and give her a break. We can volunteer to feed the homeless. There are things that each of us, every single one of us, can do one thing. We can choose. We can focus in, maybe fixing backpacks for kids who go home to a home without food. Do you know in Gilmer County there are children who won't have a meal tonight? Mm-hmm. There are children in Gilmer County who won't have a meal. And I love, one of the kids I had on is creating backpacks. And it's kind of a safety pack for kids. And I said, that's so important, because we probably all had breakfast, we all are going to have lunch, and we'll probably all have dinner. But there are families within 10 miles of this studio who won't have that. The kids will have a meal at school, and then the next morning they'll have a meal at school. And that's pretty hard. So is that something y'all would get involved with, maybe helping?
That's actually what one of my clubs does. We are setting up a meeting with the community food banks to serve the community and get them food packs and help out, and to promote coming to food banks for food for the children.
And a lot of people the parents don't want to admit that their budget won't go as far as it used to, and so that they're out of food before the end of the month, and they won't go and ask for help. And that's something we need to change. We need to make people feel, don't feel badly, come and get help. Now, what about you?
With Lead Gilmer, we have helped at the food bank and everything. And that the time that I've lived here, I've always wanted to invest more into that, because our food bank is pretty far from the center of town, and it's really the only thing that we have to help them. And I would really like to start something where we can get more food for them, we can get a shelter, we can get them clothes, get them everything that they need, because a lot of people need help.
And you know what's so sad? There's a building sitting here in Gilmer County. There are multiple buildings sitting here in Gilmer County where if you could get the grant, if you could get the funding, you could create a safe haven for those people. And the buildings are sitting here. There are multiple buildings sitting here that used to be commercial businesses that are no longer there, and that could change. But one of the things I want to challenge y'all to do, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but in Pickens County and in Cherokee County, we have these little mini pantries. And it's like you build this little pantry and it has a door on it, and people stock it with food all the time. Do you have that in Gilmer County? It's just you, and this is, it takes a carpenter You build this little pantry, and it's on legs, 4 legs, and it's a little house, and then you open the door, and people go by every day and just volunteer to put food in there. And then that they know, and a lot of people put the canned foods at the top just pops off because they know that homeless people will come there and they'll get something and they'll eat that they can pop off. And so those are things that you can put all over town. You know, you could get somebody say, hey, I know you have a business here. Would you let me set up a mini food pantry here? And that's something that's 24/7 because people just go to it, open the door, get what they need, and then every day volunteers and special people will go by and restock it. Because they'll just say, well, if I take a 6-pack of pears and you take a 6-pack of the beanie weenies and you take a 6-pack of the little macaroni meals, you know, then it restocks. And so everybody kind of gets together and says, hey, I'll do it today, you do it tomorrow. And you can do it in different places that's walking distance to downtown.
I think that that's very important because there's a lot of families that, you know, we have things at the school to give kids food, but there's a lot of situations where the kids don't really understand that they do need that food because their parents are putting food on the table, but it's only for them, and they don't have enough resources to get enough food for the whole family. And so having something more in the community for parents to go to instead of having to struggle, I think that's important.
We set up a community meal in McKaysville and Copper Hill, and the first week we fed one gentleman who asked to work for food, and the next week we fed 3 people. We got up to 300 people on Monday nights. And we did this thing because we wanted them to feel like they're not begging. So we did it for $1. For $1, you come and have a meal. And I always had good friends who would hand me $100 and say, let the next people who can't afford to eat take the money out of mine. And so we would just, you know, put the money away. And I'd have people stop me in the grocery store and give me money and say, hey, I want you to buy food for next week's community meal. Y'all can get together and create something like that. We did it. We did it using a restaurant, and then when the restaurant owner passed away, we had to change it and go to a church across the river in Tennessee. It changed things. But there's somewhere that you could create a place to feed people. And there are people who will go to bed hungry tonight.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and it's crazy in America. It's crazy in America that we're allowing this to happen. So, now we didn't get to ask you, what are you going to do when you grow up?
Whenever I get older, I want to be a student educator. I want to work in like elementary schools. I feel like my ideal grade would probably be like 3rd grade. And the reason I want to do that is because I just get touched whenever I talk to like other teachers, and they're like, what drives them. I feel like it's a calling. Like you need to, you get called upon it.
Yeah. And you?
I want to become a teacher too, but my ideal grade would be like kindergarten, because I feel like kindergarten is whenever you make the most impact, because it's their first year, so like you build that bond with them, and I feel like you always remember your kindergarten teacher.
Well, I want to show y'all. Trace, can we show the thing of Xana, because I want you to see this.
Okay.
We need a very special babysitter. We have a 2.5-year-old that is wired to the max. She is so funny. She is hysterical. She controls the room wherever she is. If we go to the Ellijay restaurant to eat, she controls the room. Everybody there loves Xana. Xana is a very, very special little girl who brought so much joy to our life, but I want y'all to see this. Are you laying down? Oh, you want me to lay down with you?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have a pillow. Do you have a pillow?
No, I don't have a pillow.
You don't have a pillow? How can you take a nap without a pillow? How are you going to do it? How are you going to take a nap without a pillow? Oh, you're going to get a pillow. Oh, is that right? Okay. Okay, you got a pillow. Okay. All right. Okay, Xana. By the grace of God, she is here, and she is doing wonderful things, but we need somebody to guide her, because she is mama's girl, and she loves her mama, and when mama leaves, her personality changes. Have y'all ever seen kids?
Yeah.
Yes. It's so weird. So teachers often, the kid gets off the school bus and is a terror at school, and the parents don't believe it because the kid's good at home. So how do you deal with that? If you're going to become a teacher, how do you address that?
I guess really just put yourself in their shoes. Like, think about what they need, how they're feeling. I mean, they've grown up with this one person, or maybe sometimes two, and like their mom.
Yeah.
And they're trying to learn how to adapt to a new person. And that takes a lot of, like, just growing into.
Yeah, yeah. Well, her mom works 2 jobs, is going to college and working 2 jobs, single mom. Dad passed away, and she's taking it on herself. And it's hard because the minute she walks out of the room, Xana's like, where's Mom? Where's Mom? And I said, we have to figure out how to mold her personality that Mom's going to be right back. You know, how do you explain that Mom's a single mom putting food on the table, you know, paying for everything? How do you do that?
I feel like it would help if, like, her new babysitter, if her mom was there for like a couple of the days, so she gets used to the new babysitter, and then like maybe the mom like goes to the bathroom or goes and gets a drink or goes outside for a little bit and the babysitter stays inside.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll adapt like better that way.
Well, she has somebody a few days a week that stays with her, but because her mom works 7 days a week, they have to kind of split it up. And one of the girls takes her to church, and Xana is she's a shouting Pentecostal is the best way I can describe her, because when she goes to church, she's all into the music, she's into everything, and she is so sweet. And everybody loves her everywhere we go, but I said at some point in time, we have to make her feel secure, you know. And it's like she did this little thing, and I wish you could have heard what she said, because when she said the word pillow, I thought, whose accent does she have? But she listens and learns, and the one thing her mom did, she took on this challenge of being a single mom, I mean, from day one. And she wakes her up every morning and says, good morning, beautiful. And she starts her day with a positive, just something positive. And so when Xana was laying on the steps at my office, and I said, are you sleepy? And she was rubbing her eyes. She said, I'm really, really sleepy. And she said, let's go to sleep. I said, okay. And so she closed her eyes and she started pretending to snore. And then she woke up and she said, good morning, beautiful, just like her mom does. And I said, what a great thing for that kid to be impressed like that. But there are kids that are going to fall through the cracks. There are kids that aren't going to get that attention that they need. And I think sometimes a teacher is the one way they get it. Now, start with it. Who's your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher is my 10th Lit, Miss Hinton. She's an amazing person. She has shown me in the few days that I've been in her class that how fun literature is. I've always had an affinity for writing and for storytelling, and she has definitely brought that out of me in her class, and I love that.
That's awesome.
I have a couple of favorite teachers that have really motivated me. They all have really helped me with my very big dreams. So Mr. Withrow, which I had him for 2 years in a bunch of different classes, and he's always recommended me for things and just helped me get to where I am to maybe make my dreams possible. Mr. Hinton and Miss May, they both are science teachers, so they help with the scientific part of my brain and everything. So
awesome.
And then I have multiple teachers that have probably impacted me throughout my life. I have a teacher that was from my middle school years that I absolutely loved her, and she was Coach Rogers. And then I have a teacher right now who's also Miss Hinton. She's my 4th Lit. She is one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet. She just really knows how to talk to you and speak to where you can understand and really help you grasp things, not only just education-wise, but just about the world.
And?
I have a few too. So I have one from middle school, Miss Chandler. She really helped me kind of like math and understand it better. And then I have another one who's not really a teacher, but she's more like a mentor to me, is Miss Gunn. Every time I walk in the building, she always tells me good morning. She's always so sweet. And I know that I could go to her with any problem and she'll be there for me.
I had a counselor at Grady High School in Atlanta, Miss Chris Overton, and she made such an impact on my life. And then my home ec teacher, and everybody knows I love to cook, I love home ec, I love all that stuff, was Ms. Maisel Kemp. And everybody thought she was a prude and she was mean and she was strict. I adored her. And I said, everything I've done in my life, I would think about it. I'd say, Miss Kemp would be proud of me. She would be happy I did this, you know. And then I had an English teacher that I loved writing. I loved writing. And then the 3rd grade teacher, I copied her handwriting. And everybody, when I sign a check, people go, "Oh, your signature is so pretty." I said, "It's Miss Jordan's from the 3rd grade." You know? So teachers do make an impact on us, don't they? Yeah, yeah. Now, being a teacher also, you get a little time off, and you get to spend some time doing things and traveling. What do y'all like to do that's fun?
I love to read and write. I had written a book when I was in 7th grade, and I loved it. It was a sci-fi. I love sci-fi, and I read sci-fi too. I love everything about space, and so that's one thing that I look for in my books. Is it about space?
Okay.
I also read a lot, and I mean, I love hanging out with my friends, but I also love being at home and reading. And I also, weirdly, all my life, I've just loved school and academics, and I like doing work and being busy, I guess.
Well, obviously, you're going for a PhD. You're no slacker. So, yeah. And what do you love?
I feel like I'm always playing softball. That's always been like my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
I always put a lot of time into that. And if it's not for school, I'm doing a travel team. It's just always been where my heart's at, and I love it.
That takes a commitment from your parents, too.
It does.
Big time. Big time.
Mine would be just like hanging out with my friends and family and like going to do stuff around town or riding the 4-wheelers or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the Super Bowl is coming up, and so is race day. Everybody knows that I love racing. I kind of like football sometimes. I don't much like the halftime shows anymore. They're getting a little bit crazy. But we're going to share a very simple recipe with you, and this is something that Doreen Lee taught me. She was my mentor forever. She taught me to make chicken bites, and I've taught so many people how to do this recipe. And if you're watching today, write down how you do this. You will have to make about 500 of them because they will disappear in minutes, but it is so good, so super simple, and it is one of those recipes that say, "Oh, wow, can you share that recipe with me?" Here we go.
I'm honored to have Sergeant Major Tony Gayton as my guest. Tony spent last Easter in Baghdad, and I bet you didn't have Oscar Mayer bacons.
No, sure didn't.
And I bet you didn't have, this is a recipe that's in our Habitat cookbook. I don't know if Beverly has one of these or not.
I don't think so.
It was a simple recipe that I've added a couple ingredients to make it festive for the holidays. Now these ingredients are so simple. It's boneless chicken breast cut into cubes, Oscar Mayer bacon, and I promise you, only Oscar Mayer works. Barbecue sauce, orange marmalade, and brown sugar. That's it. And it is so simple. And I've probably made 10,000 of these things, and once you eat them, everybody loves them. So it's simple. And if you don't like orange marmalade, don't tell anybody it's in it, because it's just that hint of orange. So we're going to begin wrapping these now. Okay, now Tony, you just take a piece of chicken that we cut with our kitchen scissors, and you wrap it in the Oscar Mayer bacon. The neat thing about this is you can incorporate the children helping you, because you can invite them all to the table, wash their hands good, sit them down, and in just a little while the family can have a large pan of these done. And then you put them in to cook while you do the Easter egg hunt.
Okay.
And in about 45 minutes they are done and delicious. Now Tony, you like to cook. I understand you like to cook.
I like to cook.
And you like to work outside in the yard?
I like to do anything outside. Yard work, not my favorite thing to do outside, but I tell you, I was actually looking forward to it when I got home.
I bet you were.
Just to be at home and do something around the house.
Now we're going to cover our chicken bites with brown sugar. And I tell everybody, sinfully cover them in brown sugar. They do need a lot of brown sugar. And for this amount, we're going to use about half of a pack of brown sugar.
All right.
And we're going to cook these about 20 minutes, and then we're going to add our orange marmalade glaze to it. There you go.
All right.
Now we're going to combine our orange marmalade and a cup and a half of barbecue sauce. And then we're going to re-glaze the chicken with that and stick it back in the oven. And then we are going to do a cup and a half. And everybody knows how I measure. Is that a cup and a half?
That's so.
That's a cup and a half. Now this just creates a glaze. Okay, the chicken bites have cooked for about 20 minutes on 350. Okay, Tony, I just want you to start pouring the glaze over the chicken.
Okay.
There you go. Wow. Oh, that smells so good. That hint of orange is just wonderful. We're going to stick this back in the oven for about 25 minutes.
Okay.
And when they come out, they'll be crispy and wonderful, wonderful. Well, hot, hot, hot. We're going to have to let it cool a couple of minutes.
Okay.
But now what does it smell like?
Hey, it smells delicious. It smells like a nice orange barbecue sauce.
It does, it does. And it's funny, but it's just that little tiny hint of orange. And even for a soldier who's not sure he likes orange marmalade, and a Southern girl who is sure she loves orange marmalade, I think we're going to enjoy this.
All right.
Wow. That
Delicious.
looks great. And I want you to taste it. I want you to remember, though, what's the word I just taught you?
Hot.
Hot. Hot.
Okay.
Mmm. Good.
Good.
Good. Subtle.
Mm-hmm.
What does it taste like? A little bit of orange?
Barely orange in there.
Good, good.
Very tasty.
And even an orange marmalade guy who didn't like orange marmalade, this is a winning recipe. This is a winning recipe. Thank you so much for tuning in to Heart of the Home. Thank you for supporting our troops. See you next week. Easter is just around the corner. Enjoy your family. Bye-bye.
If some of you want to get on your knees. Yay! Hey guys, we're back. Welcome to Live TV. And Live TV today is full of lots of folks from Gilmer County, and everybody belongs to it's kind of an elite group, right? Y'all are pretty cool? Yeah.
I'd say.
Everybody pretty cool? Yeah. Is there anybody in this group you don't like? What about your teachers?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, good. So today we've been talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the world. You kids hold the key to the good of the world. You hold the key to the good of the world, whether it's helping with homelessness, whether it is volunteering and learning about dementia, and knowing that if you're taking care of a dementia patient, you need some relief and you need some help. So if you know a family member who's battling that, volunteer to go and help them and say, hey, take a 2-hour break, go to the store, go to the park, let me give you a break. If you know a single mom who could use a little bit of help, you could volunteer there. I mean, there's so many things that we can do, and y'all hold the key to it. Y'all are the ones who can truly change the world, you know.
Yeah.
We thought my generation was going to do it, and don't y'all say that we messed it up. But there are some things we didn't do right, but some things we did pretty well. Now, let's talk a little bit about something we didn't talk about, AI. Are you afraid of it?
I don't really use it.
Okay. Does it make you nervous that people know things that we're doing before we're doing them?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, me too. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like in some ways it can be helpful, but in some ways, yeah, it can be a little scary.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to load the question. Who does TikTok? Okay. Look at me. I'm terrified of TikTok. Even though they say it's safer than it was, I don't want people getting into what I'm doing and it makes me nervous. But I know people who make a living on TikTok, and that's been one of the things. Like Bonnie, who's at home making stuff, she sells stuff because people see her product on TikTok. So TikTok has some good, some bad, and some ugly.
Yep.
Can we agree to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you get afraid that somebody might be scoping you out and maybe going to come and find you and do something bad to you, who appears to be a nice person on TikTok but might not be? Do you worry about that? No?
No.
No? You want to say something? Yeah? No? Okay. Because it makes me, we don't know who's lurking. You know, we don't know who's lurking. And as a beautiful young lady, there have been so many women who were kidnapped, stolen, never heard from again. That makes me nervous. That makes me nervous. And that is one of those ugly things that happens every single day. And, you know, we've seen it. We've seen it. Well, I'm so glad that y'all were with us today. And I hope that as y'all graduate, what year, 27?
Yeah,
27. 27. Is it going to be a magical year for you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. College?
Yes.
College? College for sure. You're going for the big one? College?
Yes, I just submitted my application to dual enrollment. So.
There you go. There you go. And you know, the cost of college, we would never have time to talk about that. Are y'all going to get some scholarships? You smart enough to get some scholarships? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if not, how are you going to fund your college?
I have a job bill for the military.
Good deal. Good deal. And anybody here going to do military except this young man? Anybody else? Nobody? Yes? Yes.
I'm thinking about it. I'm not.
You could be a Marine.
No.
But you are thinking about military. See, it's a great future. It's a great lifestyle, and it is a great way to secure our country, because we need the good those strong, independent minds out there protecting us. Well, thank you all for being here today. We're going to leave you today where rivers, mountains, and good friends meet, but we want to remind you, when we go off the air, this all goes to YouTube. So all you have to do is type in Cherie Martin and go to YouTube, hit subscribe, doesn't cost you a dime, and you can watch this over and over and over. And they can say, oh, I was bashful. Oh, I was quiet. Oh, I was mouthy. Y'all will just have a good time rewatching this. Please share it with your friends and share it with your neighbors, and know that this generation will be the generation that changes America. And I hope that maybe changes the world. We'll be with you again only on ETC. Bye, y'all.